The first thing Blake Carson noticed that night wasn't the smell of coffee or the sound of old country music playing softly from the jukebox, it was the bruise on the waitress's wrist. It wasn't small either. It was the kind of mark that didn't come from bumping into a counter or carrying heavy trays. It was the kind that told a story someone was too scared to speak about. Blake sat in his usual booth, leather jacket still dripping rainwater, his motorcycle helmet resting beside him. People at the diner kept their distance. He was the leader of the Iron Serpents, a biker gang that most of the town feared. To them, he was trouble wrapped in tattoos and scars. But tonight, he wasn't looking for a fight. He was just tired. Then she appeared again, carrying his coffee, eyes downcast, movements quiet and careful. She smiled politely, but it was the kind of smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You're new," Blake said, his voice rough but calm. "Yeah," she murmured. "Started last month. I'm Mara." Her name fit her, soft and sad. When she placed the cup on the table, the sleeve of her uniform shifted slightly, revealing another faint bruise near her elbow. She quickly tugged it back down, pretending not to notice his stare. "You okay?" he asked quietly. She froze for a second, then nodded too quickly. "Yeah. Just clumsy." Blake had seen that kind of lie before. Too many times. Over the next few weeks, he came back every night. He told himself it was for the coffee, but deep down, he knew better. He just wanted to make sure she was still okay. Every time, she'd wear long sleeves, even in the heat. Every time, her hands would tremble just a little when she poured his drink. And every time, he'd catch a glimpse of new marks, different shapes, different colors. He tried not to push. But one night, when the diner was empty, and she looked more tired than usual, he asked again. "Mara," he said softly, "who's hurting you?" She froze mid-step. The air between them turned heavy. She shook her head, forcing a small laugh. "I told you, I just fall a lot." Blake leaned forward, voice low and steady. "Those aren't from falling. Trust me. I know the difference." For a moment, her mask cracked. Her lips trembled, and tears filled her eyes. But instead of answering, she whispered, "Please, don't get involved. It'll only make things worse." Then she turned and walked away. The next night, she didn't show up for her shift. Something inside Blake twisted. He waited for an hour, then two. When he finally asked the owner, the old man sighed. "Her boyfriend called. Said she's not feeling well." Blake's jaw clenched. He'd heard enough. He asked around. The Iron Serpents had ears everywhere, auto shops, bars, the edge of town where the law rarely bothered to look. It didn't take long before one of his guys, Ghost, came back with an address and a name. Darren Cole. Local mechanic. Known for his temper. Known for drinking too much. Known for. The diner was nearly empty that night, just the hum of the old refrigerator and the faint buzz of neon lights flickering against the rain-soaked windows. The door creaked open, and every head turned when he walked in. Blake Ryder Carson. Leader of the Iron Serpents biker gang. Leather jacket, steel gaze, tattoos crawling down his forearms like smoke. The kind of man people crossed the street to avoid. But tonight, his eyes didn't carry the fire of rage, just the quiet look of someone searching for peace. He sat at his usual booth, the one by the window, and that's when he noticed her. The waitress. She looked young, too young to be this tired. Her hair was tied in a messy bun, her hands trembling slightly as she poured coffee into his cup. But what caught his attention wasn't her trembling. It was the faint purple mark beneath her sleeve. A bruise. When she leaned over to set down the menu, the collar of her uniform shifted, revealing another one near her neck. She noticed his eyes catch it and quickly pulled her shirt back up, mumbling something about the special being chicken soup. But Blake didn't hear a word of it. He'd seen bruises like that before. He knew what they meant. For weeks, he came back, same time, same booth. Not because of the food. But because of her. Her name was Mara. And every time he saw her, the bruises looked worse. At first, she avoided his eyes, afraid of what people might think. The Iron Serpents had a reputation: trouble, violence, chaos. But slowly, she realized that Blake wasn't what the rumors painted him to be. He was quiet. Respectful. The kind of man who looked like a storm but spoke like a whisper. One night, as she refilled his cup, her hand slipped, spilling hot coffee on the table. She jumped back, muttering apologies, eyes wide with fear, as if she expected to be hit. Blake reached across, gently taking her wrist. "You don't need to say sorry for a mistake," he said softly. And that was when he saw them up close. The bruises weren't fading, they were fresh. "Who did this?" he asked, his voice low, dangerous. She froze. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she shook her head. "It's nothing. I fell." He leaned back, jaw tightening. "I've seen falls. Those aren't from falling." But she wouldn't speak. Not that night. 2 nights later, she didn't show up for her shift. The diner owner said she'd called in sick, but Blake's gut told him something was wrong. He asked around. Some of his boys, Ghost, Trigger, and Rays, started checking places quietly. It didn't take long to find out. Her boyfriend, a local mechanic named Darren Cole, had a reputation too. Known for his temper. Known for hitting people smaller than him. By the time Blake rode his Harley to Darren's house, the rain had turned to thunder. He didn't knock. He kicked the door open. Darren was sitting on the couch, beer in hand, yelling when he saw Blake. "Who the hell are you?" Blake didn't answer. He just scanned the room, until